Hi, everyone, and welcome to the AwardsWatch Oscar podcast. I'm your host, Eric Anderson, and today with me I have two very special guests in the form of Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hey, girl, hey.
Dave is an International Film Society, Cinephile Society member, as I am as well, and attended the Cannes Film Festival this year. This is the Cannes post-mortem podcast, so it'll be pretty much all Cannes all the time. And then
post-mortem is right.
Post-mortem is right. And we also have Jason, who is a current Gold Rush Gang member, and also attended the festival this year. Hey, Jason.
Hey.
And it's great to have each of you here because your perspectives on the festival, I think, are going to be pretty different. This is Jason's first time. This is Dave's third time. And Jason, you came to the festival working in the marketplace, correct?
Yeah, in an internship.
And just in a brief explanation for those listening, what is the marketplace and what did you do there?
For me, I worked at a booth, which for a company that handled international sales and production. And I basically got to hear actual deals happen in the whole business language side and did little tasks. I was like their assistant. Mm-hmm. So it was like a very cool, interesting experience to be a part of. And when I wasn't working, I got to see a lot of movies.
Yeah.
How many did you see?
How many did you see? Yeah.
I think I saw around 20.
Excellent. That's a good number.
Girl, well done.
That's a really good number.
Yeah.
I've been to the festival twice and always love going down to the marketplace because it's so wacky and weird and you see these movies that you just can't even believe exist. But somebody buys them.
Yeah, and I got to see like 2 in the marketplace too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. What did you see there?
I got to see Masterminds from the director of Napoleon Dynamite and Southpaw.
Which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
And Dave, as a member of the International Cinephile Society, what did you do at the festival?
What did I do at the festival?
Yes, as a member of ICS.
Well, I wrote a handful of reviews on some of the things that I've been seeing. Mm-hmm. I saw all of the competition films, plus another half dozen or so other films. So
Bravo.
Yeah.
And if you want to read Dave's reviews, go to icsfilm.org. They are there.
Like and tweet.
So, okay, let's talk a little bit about the festival and go a little bit from the beginning. People were pretty excited, myself included, and I'm sure both of you guys too, with the announcement of the jury. Was pretty exciting. You had the Coens and Guillermo del Toro and Jake Gyllenhaal and Xavier Dolan and Rossi de Palma, and they were like, all these names were just amazing and fantastic, and then, nobody's like Sienna Miller, which, was fine. And then, and even when, the films were announced, it was a mostly exciting batch. You had Carol Elise, I think that caught people's attention the most, and the thing that, that they might have wanted to see the most. And then some things that maybe felt a little Francophile-esque, but
yeah, about that.
A little bit about that. And then as we jumped to now to the end, since that was this weekend and the awards were handed out, by and large, the response to the jury's choices were really, really negative. I mean, there were think pieces everywhere from Variety and from just everybody on how bad the choices were. And at AwardsWatch and in the forums, there was a lot of talk about the very same thing, and about, after listening to the press conference, how much impact individual people on the jury had in some of the decisions. And so I just kind of want to throw that first to you, Dave, on what your response of the winners was.
It was something along the lines of,
"Fuck you, Leslie!"
Beautifully timed, and that was some Joey Nolfi realness there with your sound effects. So shout out to her. Okay, wow, I wasn't expecting that, and I'm actually really happy with it because it was really funny. But okay, yes, so I'm guessing you didn't like it. You didn't like the winner. I was
not happy with any of the awards. Well, of course, Hu Xiaosheng getting Best Director was phenomenal, though he really should have won the Palm. And though it's kind of awful, that Best Actress tie was everything. I was cackling in my seat as it was announced that Rooney Mara won Best Actress and Emmanuelle Bercot for Mon Roi. But yeah, that was kind of awful that it happened.
Yeah, that was a really big shock. I mean, thankfully there was a really good live stream available, so I got to...
Sorry, what part was the shock?
Well, one, that it was an actress tie, because, I mean, you know, when Tahireen came out with the two scrolls, you're like, okay, it's a tie, it's probably going to be, you know, the Carol girls. That's fine. Ties are just, you know, whatever. Yeah. Ties are just cheating.
I had been really confident for days that Emmanuelle Bercot was going to win, because it just seemed like the kind of performance that Xavier Dolan would love, because it's essentially a really loud, full of histrionics, sort of Anne Dorval performance, only not so good. Mm-hmm. But I guess that was lost on him, and he stand for that and got his way.
Well,
and he all suffered for it.
The funny thing about it is that, yeah, Dolan got the brunt of the shots fired about Bercot winning, and his, you know, love and obsession with actressing, and so it was really funny when the whole of AwardsWatch kind of reacted negatively and backlashed on him about that, when AwardsWatch itself is completely obsessed with actressing. I thought it was kind of interesting, personally. Jason, did you see Bercot?
No.
You did not, but you did see Carol, correct?
Yeah.
And so, what was your take on that split?
Well, basically, usually an Oscar winner usually doesn't win a Cannes Award, right? Like usually,
Cotillard in reverse, winning an Oscar first and then winning a Cannes.
Yeah. I know Cotillard. There's many issues how she never wins, and I thought it was because
poor thing. She's the Leonardo DiCaprio of Cannes.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So I kind of didn't expect Blanchett to win because she recently won for Blue Jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it gave. So I'm wasn't too shocked.
It didn't. It was kind of strange that it was Rooney Mara to me that got picked, and I'm saying this having non-seen anything. So it just seemed kind of strange.
It is kind of strange in a way, because while they're both pretty restrained and understated, Rooney Mara is even more so.
Mm-hmm.
And you just wouldn't think that she would have the panache to win Best Actress at Cannes, although we've seen winners like Kirsten Dunst and Cher. And actually, I think that Jason made a good point about people who have won Oscars not winning at Cannes post their Oscar win, because the last person, from what it looks like to me, who was able to do that was Meryl Streep in 1989 for A Cry in the Dark. So since then,
that's a good stat. Then that is something interesting to go off of.
Yeah, I thought so too.
What was I just gonna say? I just blanked.
Oh, I apologize.
The thing that was sad, that was kind of sad though, was that once Rooney Mara's name was announced, you just kind of had a moment where you realized then that Todd Haynes was not going to get director or the Palm.
Oh yeah.
It messes up the plan for everyone.
And it did. And as far as predictions go, very early on,
it was still
a lot of people had picked.
There was still a chance that he could have won the Prix de Jury, but that's not the Palm, which is what people were hoping for.
No, and it doesn't seem like the kind of movie that would win that anyway. So, let's look at the winners really quick. Just as a quick rundown for people, since we probably should have done that at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
The Palm winner was Dupin from Jacques Audiard. And I hope that I don't just absolutely butcher too many people's names, because I know I'm going to, but tough shit. It's just how it is. The Grand
Sorry,
Prix,
not sorry.
I know. Maybe I'll just say the names and not directors' names, and I'll let you do that, Dave, because you're really, really good with pronunciation. Grand Prix was Son of Saul, which I think makes a good amount of sense.
I was predicting that.
Yeah, the jury prize was The Lobster.
I was thinking that it would win screenplay, but it did show up still.
Yeah. Best actor went to Vincent Lindon from The Measure of a Man.
I know a lot of people saw that coming.
Yeah, it was interesting too, because he almost mentions in his own speech probably why he won, and that he has never won a prize in his life for acting until now. So I have to imagine there might be a little bit of due factor there. We talk about that with the Oscars all the time, but it certainly happens here as well.
Yeah, narratives happen, even at Cannes, especially with a 9-person jury, there's going to be politics.
Yes. And as you mentioned for director, the assassin, and I just say his name again so I don't, fuck it up.
Osiason? I probably fucking butchered it, too.
I think that sounds good, and hopefully, we aren't targeted for protests, so...
JJJ is going to,
I know. And then finally, which seems like from the people that I've talked to, yourself included, Dave, the worst award or the biggest, oh my god, what the fuck, was the win for Chronic in Best Screenplay. So,
do you hear that?
Uh-oh.
That's the sound of me pouring a fucking drink.
Uh-oh. I can see where this is going to go.
Okay, that was handily the worst, most ridiculous award of the entire Palmarès de Merde. It's a movie that I don't even think had a screenplay. It has barely any dialogue for huge stretches of it. It never really arcs. And then it takes a cheap, easy way out for that ending.
Yeah.
Plus, just giving that a writer's award endorses the evil morality behind this film, which is super questionable and offensive. And yeah, that was by far the worst part of it. And it was the first award, so it totally spoiled the rest of the night.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And Jason, did you see Chronic?
No.
You didn't. Okay.
Skipped it.
Of the winners, though, just let me remind me of what you did see.
Lobster, Carol,
Okay.
Assassin, Dupin, in Son of Saul.
Wow, that's actually pretty good. So what do you think of Dupin as the Palm winner?
I was shocked. Did not see that coming for any wins.
I did not see... I was considering it in Best Actor, but I
didn't see that.
For a split second thought it was going to win the Palm. It's just so middle of the road. It was... Yeah, middle of the pack of the competition. It's far from Jacques Audiard's best. Probably it's one of his worst films. It's actually not a bad movie, though, because it's really interesting as it studies these three strangers who have to pose as a family when they obtain illegal passports of a family who's died, and so they each play these roles so that they're able to leave Sri Lanka. Then once they arrive in France, it's really interesting to see their integration into society, and sobering too when we think of the things that we take for granted. Like when they arrive at their shit apartment in some ghetto in Paris, she asks if it's safe to drink the water. And what, for me, that was just really, really humbling to think, oh wow, the thing that I am able to do every day without a second thought. And the little girl who is part of their family, when she's enrolling in public school, once they get to France, the principal is asking her if she attended school in Sri Lanka, and she said no. She proceeds to ask why, and the little girl tells her that, well, the government burned down my school. And the principal is just kind of like, what the fuck? And then once they leave, they're real angry about it, because it's saying, what? Everybody burns down schools. Like, yeah, so all of that was really interesting to me. And then it starts to meander a bit and becomes really violent. And in
Those
some
final
ways,
15 minutes. Those final, like, 15
especially
minutes.
the last 10 minutes, which are pretty much Rambo, which was...
A Taxi Driver.
Yeah, it totally takes you out of the film because it's something from another film altogether. And in some ways, the consideration of his violent nature is valid because he is a Tamil tiger, and he was a Tamil tiger when he was in Sri Lanka, and it begs the question of whether or not he's programmed to respond in a certain way when he's put in certain situations that trigger those, I don't know, muscle memories of violence. So that was interesting, but I don't think that that the execution of it really landed properly. So all for me, it's a really weak Palm winner. Probably the most disappointing since The Wind That Shakes the Barley, and probably the worst since Fahrenheit 9/11.
Ouch. Yeah, that seems like it's...
Because we've been really lucky over the past several years to have really great winners.
Oh my god, the only two times I have been there, the Palm winner was my favorite movie of the festival. So my Cannes experience has been tremendous. So this is unfortunate. Yeah. But
I will just take solace in the fact that La Vie d'Adèle happened in my first year going to the festival. So at least my first experience was great.
yeah, definitely. But so, I mean, I asked both of you guys about that film specifically and what you thought about its win. Because during the post award ceremony press conference, the press really dragged the jury hard, and in a way that
good riddance.
That I can't even remember like having happened. And sometimes it was a little, off center, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But then other times it really was, and it seems like the Coens, and especially Ethan Coen, who spoke more, just kind of kept subverting questions, and
he was,
and they were definitely put on the defensive, and it seems like Deepan was
but those reactions were so canned.
But it seems like that was a pretty political decision, because even listening to him talk about them talking about the movie, it seemed like it was a film that had a lot of respect, but not a whole lot of passion. Whereas a whole bunch of other films had a lot of passion, but obviously fell short somewhere in the jury.
Unifying the jury, yeah.
Yeah. And it's I don't know. It seemed like like Dolan and Gyllenhaal took quite a bit of heat for being like the outliers that might have kept other things from winning. But I don't know, like maybe Son of Saul. I don't know. Maybe.
And I don't really think that Son of Saul ever would have won the Palm. It's a first film, and when do they ever award Palms to a first film? I always thought it was going to win the Grand Prix, which it did. Go ahead, Jason.
Sex Lies and Videotape. Yeah. Is that the last one to win the Palm from being a first film?
Wow, is it? God, that's like 89.
Yeah, we would have to. Yeah, we would have to do some fact checking, which
I think it is.
But so wouldn't Son of Saul be eligible for the Camera d'Or as well?
It was, and
so how could it not win that?
For the same reason that Levi Dadel did not win the Queer Palm 2 years ago. It's they figure. I'm sure that the Camera d'Or jury probably thought that it would get rewarded, so they decided to shine a light on something else that probably needed the exposure a bit more.
Sure, I get it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's look at. We kind of have talked about most of this already. What do you? You said earlier, David, that the Assassin probably could have and should have won the Palm. And I mean, what are your choices?
I don't know about could have. I don't know about could have because it was never going to happen with this basic jury. Like, I was thinking it was going to get fully shut out, so I was delighted that it won Best Director. So,
what was your favorite win of the awards then?
Who Shall Shame for Best Director, or that Best Actress prize just for that expertly thrown shade
for the drama of it. And Jason, what was your favorite win?
Probably The Lobster.
Oh, for the jury.
Really though, really. You came out of that film and said that you were disappointed.
It grew on me.
I have problems with it, but it's one of my favorites of the festival.
He liked it. Let's go to a couple of charts.
Girl, you were planning to like it.
Mm-hmm.
With those lobster shorts and everything.
Oh my god, I saw that picture with the lobster shorts. I saw that too. I want to go to a couple of charts, and one is the big aggregate chart of charts, and then the other is the ICS one.
Oh, that one. That's the good one.
It is the good one. And yeah. And it covers a lot of geography. Because you have Cedric in Rome, you have Mark in the Netherlands, yourself, David, is Canada, Aaron is Turkey, and then two people who I am not familiar with in terms of ICS yet, and that's David and Chris. And you can go to icsfilm.org and check this out yourself. Both in Paris. So that was I think more voters in this than usual, which is good. Which is always good. And the highest rated movie, look, is Carol amongst you guys. Everybody saw it. That's right. It got 3 palms. Good. And on a scoring range of 0 to 5 stars. When it didn't get a palm, it got a 4.5, a 4, and a 3.5. So that was pretty high, pretty good. And then, but right behind it was The Assassin and Mia Madre, the Nanny Moretti.
Yeah.
And let me look at what was your score for the Moretti. It was 3.5. It's actually one of the lower scores. So. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on Mia Madre.
Tell you about Mia Madre?
Just your thoughts on it really briefly.
You know what? It's not one that I'm super... It was good. It has a really great lead performance from Margarita Boy, and John Turturro has a really great scene-stealing role, playing an American actor coming to act in an Italian film directed by the character played by Margarita Boy, and yeah, it's very emotional. It deals with loss. It's a lot of people found it very moving, and normally those are subjects that really get to me. But I don't know. I wasn't really that taken by it. Maybe it's my Nanni Moretti bias. I'm not sure.
I was just going to ask about that next, or just what you thought about him in general, and if maybe that had some factor.
I think we're all pretty upset about his jury's prizes in 2012. So
yeah, I mean he hasn't garnered too many fans with that. So
except for McTeague.
Well, yes. Let's look at. Ooh, this was something that really stood out for me. And Jason, I'm sorry, I want to get to you too, and I want to hear your thoughts on films. But I want to ask David one more question on this, and that is about The Sea of Trees, which
yes,
by most. Okay, there's really no two ways about it. It was basically like the lowest rated of the in-competition films in the aggregate poll. It was just dismal and hated and booed, and it was...
Yeah, Dave loved it.
And Dave loved it and gave it 4 stars. So...
I was so tempted.
It's time for you to lip sync for your life. So, tell me about it. You did say something I saw in the forums maybe earlier today or yesterday that ruffled my feathers a bit, and it was something along the lines of Naomi Watts deserves an Oscar. I don't remember, something like that.
Oh my God, this is the best she's been since Mulholland Drive. She was good. She has one weak moment in the beginning of her performance, where it's a little bit reductive of her Mulholland Drive performance, but then after that, she's so moving, she's so emotional, she really believes in the material and makes the best out of it. And I really like the film, but I can admit that it has flaws, but I think these flaws have been over-exaggerated. And maybe it's just my own philosophy as a cinephile, which is not to try to hate things and try and pick out the best and everything. And I try to forget the drivel, try to forget everything subpar and just focus on the memories that really moved me. And The Sea of Trees had a lot of that. But it also has a lot of excesses, and yeah, it works against itself, but still, the highs meant way more to me, which is why I ranked it that high.
I'm very, very curious to see it now. I mean, it definitely was before because it's Gus Van Sant, but the response to it was just like, it was vomitous. It was so bad. So
they do this every year, though.
I know. They pick the one thing to hate on really hardcore.
They had those tweets written before the film even screened.
Maybe.
Oh, come on. They were that clever off the top of their head right after the film. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe. Jason, so, The Lobster. I want you to...
Not my favorite film of the festival.
No, I'm not saying it's your favorite. In the aggregate poll, it ended up at number 6, which is pretty good. But I just want to hear your thoughts on it and why you liked it.
Like the first half of it, I found to be like hilariously smart and original. It's like a dystopia.
Original? It's such a
super
David, let Jason talk.
Yeah. You'll get your turn. Okay. Yeah, it's by far the most like original film of the Cannes lineup. It's satire on relationship.
David.
Oh yeah, what I saw. Okay, it's a satire on relationships and marriage, and I just found the first half to be really clever, original, and it has like a brilliantly deadpan performance by Colin Farrell. But the second half, I started feeling like it ran out of ideas. There was still like a lot of good stuff in it, but I felt the ending redeemed itself. It's growing on me. Mm-hmm. I have some issues, but my favorite film of the festival, though, is Youth.
Yes, I'm gonna get to that in a little bit. We can segue right into it right now, which is good because after the Great Beauty's Oscar win, I think the anticipation for Youth was really, really, really high, and it's also got an English-speaking cast, and you're like, okay, maybe there's something here. And Fox Searchlight is putting it out, like, okay, all right, what's going on? But then nothing kind of happened with it. It ended up in the middle. Critically, just kind of meh. But as your favorite film, I definitely want to hear
I don't think
why.
that it's right to...
David, I'm asking Jason. Just
Okay,
on.
I think it's the type of film that's going to actually really break out on the fall festival circuit.
Okay.
It's very accessible, it's personal, appeals to older inside the entertainment industry, and the Oscars go crazy for that. And it's just a really incredible film. It's like a symphony of emotions, friendship, introspection, career, and love. And I feel like the director, is a maestro of emotions. When I'm crying in the movie, he lifts my spirits with laughs. He really cares about his audience, and I just think it's going to break out huge. The performances are all incredible by Michael Caine, Harvey Keitel, and Jane Fonda. I even thought Paul Dano's great, but Keitel's going to obviously overshadow him, and he's deservingly. And it's just a really beautiful film, incredibly shot, and it's just... I was in tears 10 minutes in, and I was a mess by the end, but
wow,
I think it's going to be huge with the Academy, and I think it's going to break out really big. Nebraska was pretty divisive, if you look back at Cannes when that came out.
Yeah.
And it has had around the same Metacritic score. I think Youth is at currently a 78, and Nebraska was at a 79. The same critics basically are had problems at the time with the films, but once it moved to Telluride with Nebraska, I think Youth, once it goes to Telluride, it's going to hugely break out there. It's just, the perfect audience to embrace it. It's just I was surprised by how accessible it was. It's going to be really big. I think it's going to be Searchlight's number one. It has a October release date, which is their prime spot too.
I mean, I am really, really intrigued by everything around the movie, by its release date, by the English speaking, by the Fox Searchlight. It just feels like it could potentially be really, really big. So I'm with you on that, David. So. What were your thoughts on Youth?
I loved it. I gave it one of my palms.
So you did. You gave, and for the record, Dave gave 1, 2, 3, 4 palms.
I was giving palms out like Oprah.
You were.
You get a palm. You get a palm.
You had 2 hands, but 4 palms. So.
Yes.
And but like I said, in the aggregate poll, it ended up at number 12, and was kind of just in this whatever place.
I don't think that it reflects on whatever. I think that it reflects on really divisive reactions, because you have people ranking it really high and people ranking it really low. It's a real love or hate it thing. I think it averages out to Mad, but the reactions were far from that. They were impassioned from whichever end of the spectrum you lie on.
Well, it was really interesting looking at the ICS group that voted. It got really great reviews from the 4 of you that I know.
Yeah.
And the really, really bad ones came from the 2 guys from Paris. So I might have to see them next time around and be like, what are you doing?
Thank God Father is an honorary Roman now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to obviously talk about any films that you guys and we think are going to break out from this to Oscar potential, because it is still an Oscar podcast. So that's where we're going to go with it. And clearly, Carol is the one, and would have been before this anyway. But stepping aside from that a little bit, what are you guys looking at from this group, if anything, to be able to make a jump into an Oscar race?
Can I talk? Because my
Yes.
answer will be shorter than Jason's.
Okay.
I'm just to say that the only one that I believe in is Carol.
Okay.
That's going to make a big Oscar impact.
Or
Yeah.
any at all.
Carol has the Carol's going to
make double digits.
I think Carol's going to get a bunch of nominations, but I don't know if it's actually going to pull off any wins in the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could. I know people are super doubtful of the fact that Cate Blanchett could win, but I can see it happening. Like, I don't
No,
really-
there is no way she's going to win. It's too strange.
I don't know. I'm not doubtful.
She has a really good
anything.
scene towards the end at the lawyer's office, but
she has great scenes throughout the whole entire.
no, but like that's
film.
like her big clip scene, in my opinion. But even that, I just don't picture it as a winning role.
Mm-hmm. So
An
what?
easy nomination, and it might even win critic best actress wins, but I just don't see it winning the actual Oscar, especially after she just won.
Yeah, I don't think they're too worried about that personally.
Honestly, I don't either. Look how quickly they gave Daniel Day-Lewis a third Oscar.
Look at Christoph Waltz. He did the same role twice, and they gave him 2.
Yeah.
So
She's not playing anyone like that.
yes. Well, so the
It's
other
her best performance, though, and I know this is just only my opinion, because I've never been a fan of her, as most people on the forums would know, but she's absolutely magnificent. She's wonderful in the role. She's super subtle, super accessible, super emotional. She's so bared and oh my goodness, I'm just a mess thinking about this film.
I know. I really can't wait to see it. I hope I get to it as soon as possible.
And like I was saying, I really believe that it has the potential to do double-digit nominations. It could get Best Picture, Director, Actress, Supporting Actress, Screenplay, Cinematography, Art Direction, Costume Design,
Score.
hair and makeup, score, and
Yeah.
oh god, there's one editing. Like it could.
Oh, I thought the editing was great.
Oh, the editing is wonderful.
Good.
Oh,
Good.
everything about the film is wonderful. Everything.
You don't think Rooney Mara is going to go lead, right?
Oh god, no, she's gonna go supporting.
Good.
If
There's people
if
saying
And it's funny because
If
if
it's
I
Weinstein, I don't know why he would even try. He didn't try it with August. He's not going to try it with this.
yeah, honestly, like, and this is the perfect scenario because I actually think that it's pretty similar. Like to me, Rooney Mara, like they're both leads, but Rooney Mara is even more of the lead, and Cate Blanchett is borderline. And I kind of thought the same thing about August Osage County. To me, Julia Roberts is the lead of that film, and Meryl Streep is borderline. But because Meryl Streep was the bigger name and Cate Blanchett is the bigger name, they go lead. They're the Academy favorites, and well, not that Julia Roberts is like any slouch or anything, but she's no Meryl Streep, and Rooney Mara is no Cate Blanchett, so they go supporting. It's easy to see how that happens.
It does seem pretty straightforward.
And you don't think Rooney Mara has any chance of winning, right?
I said before that I don't, and I still stick by that because
okay, I agree.
Hers is a very internal performance. She's very subdued, very understated. There are some moments where I almost think she's better than Cate Blanchett because her performance isn't as actressy.
Yeah.
But it's so tough. I think I personally prefer Cate Blanchett by a hair, but the two of them are practically locks for my two favorite performances of the year, which I never thought would happen from either of them. But that's the beauty of Todd Haynes.
Yeah, well,
he's a genius.
I'm really hoping that this, becomes a little bit more about him than it does about, Rooney Mara and Cate Blanchett.
Good thought.
I really want him to be able to reap the benefits of this year. I do. I think he deserves it. He's awesome, and I love the guy.
Yeah.
But continuing on the Oscar talk and looking at the list, outside of looking at foreign film submissions, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking youth, like we mentioned before, and Sicario make the most sense as potentials.
Sicario, I'm kind of doubtful it's going to make it.
People were kind
Your
of
impact?
high.
What about you?
People were high on Benicio del Toro based on the script. So, what do you guys think now after having seen it?
Okay, Benicio del Toro. I thought he was great, but I actually expected him to be in it more. He plays more of a pivotal role towards the later half of the film. It's really dominated by Emily Blunt.
He actually impressed me personally, and that's why I'm personally not a great predictor, because I have a hard time separating my own reactions from predictions, and I just thought the whole thing was meh. So
I think it's basically locked for cinematography, the score as well.
Oh, good God! I hope it isn't.
It is. I'm telling you, they're going to eat that up.
Son of Saul is locked for cinematography.
Not locked.
Just let him go. Let him go. He'll have to answer to it tomorrow. Just
Yeah. I think cinematography, sound, and score are definite.
Wow.
Del Toro, maybe.
We're in May, right?
I know we're in May, but you have Deakins. He got in for Prisoners, and he topped himself. He topped himself here with Sicario.
Topped himself with the P-stained negatives.
Oh, so what? Traffic Part 2?
We'll see with Del Toro. I'm predicting him right now.
Okay.
Emily Blunt really dominates the majority of the film until a point, but Del Toro is a very dominating, scary presence, and it could lead to a nomination.
Okay, cool.
It's more of an art house blockbuster. I'd describe it as.
Okay, and then
I don't really see the art house personally, but okay.
So what about youth? We did talk a little bit about it, but what are we looking at as realistic possibilities? I mean, is Jane Fonda's 6-minute cameo possible?
She could happen if they embrace the film entirely. She could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Only if they embrace the film entirely. She's not going to if youth only gets embraced for Michael Caine and Keitel, and they don't decide to embrace it in picture or director, then I doubt she happens. But if they go for the whole thing, she'll be tagged along because she eats up her screen time.
Right now the Gold Rush gang is not there for Jane Fonda quite yet.
I'm not sure if I updated it yet. I'd probably predict her right now at 5.
But Michael Caine has a slew of votes now. And he is in 1, 2, 3, 4. He's in 5th place. So he's done extremely well in the last week, vote-wise, which is really impressive. Harvey Keitel also has 2 of 10 votes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is in 6th. So that's pretty impressive, and it looks like the film is doing pretty well right now, at least with the Gold Rush gang. So it does seem like that everything from the response to the release date to the studio has really buoyed it with a lot of us in the groove.
Because no one has much faith in anything else Fox Searchlight has right now.
True, because it seemed like Demolition was going to be here's the thing that all of us are going to be putting behind.
Yeah, I know we're all pretty bullish on it.
But it seems like that's kind of falling by the wayside a little bit, including, and how's this going to be for a segue? Jake Gyllenhaal, my favorite subject. So Demolition is a Fox Searchlight film, and up until Gyllenhaal for that film is still in the Gold Rush Gang top 5, but his numbers have dropped considerably. And interestingly enough, they have dropped in favor of him in Southpaw. And that came after the screening that happened at the festival, shown by Harvey, with some very, very choice words. Let me quote these really quick because it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Where Harvey says that they are going to get revenge and make up for his Nightcrawler snub last year. That's some serious fighting words there. Not to use the one of many boxing puns I'm sure I will use at this point. But
I believe in him.
But this is the thing I want to talk about, and that is that you saw the film at this screening, Jason.
It screened like 3 times, and I saw one of them.
Okay, so you were pretty effusive in your praise of him and his transformation and the performance itself, not simply just the transformation. So tell me a little bit about it. Let me relax and get comfortable so I can, ready to absorb the Gyllenhaal praise. So go ahead.
Okay. So he starts as like a world champion boxer. He's on top of the world right now. And unfortunately, he loses his wife, who's like the love of his life.
Yeah, but it's Rachel McAdams, so it's not really that much of a loss, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now he's a broken man who cannot get over the loss of his wife. He loses his like career, he loses his house, he loses his daughter. He starts succumbing to addiction and alcohol addiction and drug addiction and self-destructive behavior. And I think this is like super fucking baity, and he's incredible. It's like if you see Nightcrawler like right before Southpaw, the transformation is like scary. It's super emotional. Gyllenhaal cries a lot.
It sounds like you're crying right now. I'm just kind of...
Yeah, I'm just thinking back. You cry. Like there might everyone who I saw it with got very emotional.
Oh my goodness.
I think the film could be a gigantic hit.
Well, I think it is going to be a hit. I've written 2 different pieces. One, the box office piece, where I think it is going to be a really big hit. I think that the timing is really, really good, and they promoted it during that silly fight a couple weeks ago. But
music's a big part of it, and I know they launched like a new Frank Ocean song.
Yeah, Eminem is on the soundtrack too.
Yeah, I think if it makes like around 125 to 200 million and gets decent reviews overall, like probably like in the mid 60s to like mid 70s or in that range, Gyllenhaal could happen. He's going to get great reviews, I have no doubt.
I think he will too, and it's in it because it's a boxing movie too. Those tend to do or can do pretty well with sound and Oscar nominations and that kind of thing.
The only thing I worry about is the film's a little bit cliche and emotionally manipulative, and maybe critics can be a little stubborn with it. But
regardless, it's a summer movie.
Yeah, but regardless, I know Gyllenhaal is going to get great reviews. It's an incredible transformation. I'd compare it with 8 Mile, Rocky, and the court case of like I Am Sam, because the majority of the movie is him like fighting for his daughter, and there's like emotional court scenes with him coping like with the loss of his daughter's love for him and him trying to win her back because that's all he has left in life. And you have like Gyllenhaal going from world champion millionaire boxer to a custodian and trying to train back and redeem himself.
Well, I mean, the thing that I guess would be the most concerned about is that Antoine Fuqua doesn't exactly have a lot of high-rated films under his belt. I mean, like, at all. But, I mean, his highest-rated narrative film is Training Day.
He directed Training Day,
Training Day. And
so he could direct an Oscar-winning performance?
So he can direct a Best Actor winner.
Yeah, so, like, don't worry.
I'm freaking out. You have no idea, because I was totally on the Southpaw train, like, from the beginning. and just kind of got beaten down for it. And then the Demolition thing, I was like, okay, this makes more sense, and this can maybe be a little more Oscar friendly. But now it's kind of coming back, and I'm just hoping that it's the case, because
I had super low expectations for this film too, so it really surprised me. And I thought the boxing scenes are incredibly well directed, like some of the best boxing scenes I've ever seen on film, and the colors make scenes really pop, and you get these really cool point of view boxing. Like that's his point of view. It's just really cool to watch, really exciting. It's a really thrilling film, emotional. It's just, you know where it's going. The trailer
sure.
Most of the movie.
Sure.
But I'm excited to see what happens with it. It's not like he's not locked, but if certain things happen, Gyllenhaal could get nominated for Southpaw.
Oh my god, you're so excited. That pretty much just made my whole day.
I want Gyllenhaal to get a nomination.
I do too, because he should have gotten one last year.
Yeah.
But yes. Gosh, what else do we have to look from?
More. Rocky meets I Am Sam. I never want to.
No, Rocky meets I Am Sam meets 8 Mile.
I Am Sam. Oh, because of the daughter thing?
The court case stuff.
Oh
Not like...
There must be a better guy trying to get his...
I'm trying to think of another court case daughter.
Kramer versus Kramer.
Okay, yeah, better. Okay.
Okay, good, because...
Okay, Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah, okay, I feel better now.
That's a really boring movie, too.
It's a very important distinction, just to say.
I'm getting nominated for I Am Sam.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was really what I wanted to talk about more than anything, to be perfectly honest. But I'm curious, because one of the things that what we like to do with the Cannes Film Festival is kind of begin to really start sussing out our foreign language film nominees. And even though obviously the country has to submit the film first, this is one of the first times we can really kind of start to look at things and what might happen. So you think Son of Saul has a good shot? I do. I don't know how it couldn't.
I don't know how it can't win at this point. I can't usually
it can't win.
It's a Holocaust film, and it's way better.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but that's not...
You're talking like this is Schindler's List for the pianist.
It's incredible. I will be...
But Holocaust films...
It's not locked or anything, but I'll be very sad if Son of Saul ends up not winning.
Okay, I'm glad you made that distinction, because...
I'm not saying it's locked. It's May. I understand. But I will be very heartbroken if Son of Saul doesn't win. It's an incredible film. I saw it twice.
Wow. Sure, I know that a Holocaust film is a Holocaust film is a Holocaust film.
I know.
This is not a Holocaust film in that sense, because it's never as emotionally manipulative as the ones that we've seen rise to Oscar glory. It's basically one sustained medium shot where he sometimes moves towards the camera into a close-up, and everything behind him is blurred. And you're saying that this is a lock for cinematography? I don't see it, because while the cinematography is really effective, it's kind of ugly, and they really like pretty in this category. So I'm not really feeling that. I'm thinking that it's going to be one of the films that the subcommittee saves for the 9-wide short list. I don't think that it's one that
you forgot to mention its use of shallow focus, which is its very effective use of shallow focus.
That's interesting, because I was just reading today some pretty negative comments about the shallow focus.
From what, New York Times?
Yes.
Just one single person.
Okay, sure, but
anyways, wait. One thing I want to say though about Son of Saul is Sony Pictures Classics has major films are I Saw the Light and Son of Saul. So a lot of focus is going to go into Son of Saul, I think.
I would agree. I would agree.
I'm not predicting it to get nominated for Best Picture, unless it gets like a December
that's
15th.
better.
15th release date or something, like mid-December, because that's how they usually aim. That's how they aimed it with the more.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not like a typical Best Picture nominee, but I just picture they're gonna go all the way in for this movie. I think it's gonna get multiple. It can get a cinematography nomination. It could win.
It could win what?
Like foreign language film.
Okay.
Yeah, not like picture.
No, I was thinking you were saying it could. You said cinematography, and
Oh no, sorry.
and so I was.
No, it just feels like usually every year can a foreign language film or a niche pick ends up getting a cinematography nomination, and this is one that...
Yeah, but this is nothing like those ones.
I know that usually it's like a black and white film, but...
And yeah.
I don't know, the cinematography element is like one of the biggest, most well-praised parts of Son of Saul I've read in reviews so far. I think it's the type that
I would predict it for the National Society of Film Critics Best Cinematography Award, but I don't think
it has a major studio attached. I think
it does. I feel better about it than maybe some others for sure. And it's got a 90 right now on Metacritic.
Yeah.
So
still, like this year, are we thinking that Oscar is suddenly going to abandon all of its biases and
Son of Saul shot in real time, kind of like Birdman, and it's like a mix of like Lubezki's work in Children of Men and Birdman, in my opinion.
I think
the camera hovers around over his head and
it's so superficial.
I don't know. It's just very showy camera work, and I feel like the Academy is going to really respond to it.
To them, showy means pretty. This is not their aesthetic at all.
I disagree. I think we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And like I said, I get that you're better at this than I am, but this year, girl, like all these foreign films that you think are,
but see,
that's
the thing about right now. We are in May, so I mean,
all these foreign films. I'm only Son of Saul.
There's
Son of Saul, Youth, Taylor.
Youth is a foreign film?
There's a million things that can happen.
It's an Italian movie. It's an Italian movie. Star like all these English stars, sure, but it's. I don't know. I have never seen a film like that nominated for Oscars.
Youth?
Well, wait. So
like Youth.
So would Youth even qualify as an Italy submission?
What?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Okay, good. So it would be like what, Mia Madre?
Probably.
Is there anything else from the competition list that you guys might think could break out as a foreign language film submission?
That I saw.
What about the Palm winner?
Maybe that's France, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
We don't have a.
I don't think it's going to win
yet, though. So that's.
Wait,
a big
sorry. Are we talking about Deepan?
Yeah.
I can't picture.
I can't see France submitting a Tamil language film. For their foreign language film submission. I just don't see it.
I don't see it either.
And then the other 4 French films in competition were panned.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen either.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's too much from
the French release date yet.
Yeah, see, that's what I was trying to figure out too, because that's what sunk Blue is the Warmest Color so hard.
So, okay, it's end of August. I think that means it's eligible, right?
Yeah, October is when the cutoff.
September 30th or something.
So thanks to its Palm win, it's probably like locked for the Golden Globe nomination, but we'll see with the Oscars.
Yeah. Definitely.
We'll see.
Well,
like I said, the only thing
go ahead.
that I have any faith in is Carol, which I have a lot of faith in, but
yeah, and I think that was already going.
I'm not feeling it. No, not really. Not at all.
I can see a little Carol backlash at the fall festivals. possibly.
Maybe
Which
if-
is
Not like the typical
TIFF.
audience film.
yeah, it depends.
I know
on,
that's why people want. That's why people want it to skip TIFF because
Yeah, I
that's
think
where
it's-
a little
it-
backlash could happen.
if it doesn't hit every single festival. Yeah, it's gonna
People
need
will start
to-
calling it overhyped, and then people will start complaining about the pace. Maybe we'll see. I hope not.
Yeah,
I want it to play TIFF. I want people to embrace it. I don't want the backlash that like Foxcatcher got.
why it was such a mediocre
I don't think
movie.
this has less of a chance for that to happen, but it's possible.
I'll be curious to see what the release date ultimately is. I know Christine Vachon said, I think like yesterday or the other day, she hinted at a November release, which I think would be really good
For what?
for Carol.
November.
December 18th.
I thought she said something yesterday mentioning November.
It was confirmed, I think, for December 18th.
It should be November.
Nope. That kind of makes me think it's not going to be his number one priority, and it could be 3 Generations, which got a massive buy at Cannes for like what, $8 million, based off a little footage like Philomena did 2 years ago.
An Imitation Game.
Imitation Game was at Berlin, but yeah,
And that was like 7 million.
yeah.
Jesus, 8 million? Really? God, that's bananas.
Well,
Third.
remember how much money Harvey Weinstein spent on Can a Song Save Your Life, also known as whatever they renamed it?
Yeah, Begin Again.
Yes,
little
that's the one.
Yeah, I know that, but it's a little concerning that he's taking on 2 LBG, like how he's taking on 2 GBD films. I'm sorry, I'm not talking. LGBT films. Yeah, okay, got it.
That's right. IndieWire has already dubbed this year like the lesbian year. So, oh, God, too much. Well, I don't know if we have too much more to talk about Cannes, unless you guys do. Unless you want to talk a little bit about your experiences. I really just kind of wanted to hear your guys' thoughts. Talk a little bit about the Oscars and the winners and all of that, and we've kind of done that. So I don't know. I'm looking at the list, and I'm so unenthused by this list.
It's funny that you say that because the day that the competition was announced, I was so underwhelmed. And then once I actually got to the festival, I liked most of the films that I saw. And in fact, I borderline loved most of them too. So, well, most is an exaggeration,
you got 1,
but
2,
it's
3,
really
4, 5, 6 full-on hates.
I probably disliked 4.
okay. But then the ones that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 above 4 stars as well. So
yes, you do.
So
I'm actually
yeah,
I'm really interested in the Coriata.
the Coriata, that's one that I could see happening in foreign language film because I think that it's safe enough, accessible enough, like the kind of thing that they would probably like. It also has Sony Pictures classics. I can see it happening.
But we kind of thought that before, and that didn't happen with his last the Cannes entry.
Our like father, like son.
Yeah, which seemed like such a total. Like,
Was that Japan's entry or
no? It wasn't. But we were talking about that as a possible entry, and then Spielberg as the head of the jury that year. It was like such a Spielberg movie.
For sure, and he's planning to do an English language remake of it.
And that was so funny because we were talking about it that year before it was announced. I'm like, he needs to remake this movie because this is totally his wheelhouse.
It's
and then
a
boom,
Spielberg movie,
and then there he goes. So I don't know. I mean, I wonder if that could break out.
I feel like it's something that the foreign language committee might like. But I have a hard time seeing
Japan pick it.
Sorry?
I have a hard time seeing Japan pick it.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing that too.
Yeah. They pick strange.
I feel like like, unless you watch a lot of Japanese movies, it's probably not going to resonate with you because it draws on so much of past Japanese cinema, especially Ozu. It's filled to the brim with Ozu. But I feel like a lot of people this year just sort of said, oh, it's light, it's inconsequential, nothing happens. But yet what I see is this beautiful portrait of a family's intimacy. And I think that it's so subtle and tender. And yeah, it brings me back to Ozu and the family films of the 40s and like the Hollywood ones at that. And it's just so gentle and so moving and so interesting, even though that it's mostly slice of life with peppered with some conflicts that drive the plot a bit.
Yeah, but I mean that's his
it's
entire
a film
canon.
That requires, sorry?
That's his entire canon, is that.
Whose?
Koreeda. That's very much everything that he does.
Yeah,
they're
for
really
sure.
Small, intimate family films with, the little bits of conflict. And I think he does it extremely well.
And sorry?
I think he does it extremely well.
Oh,
I'm surprised it hasn't been a Japan pick.
Yeah, I am too. No, I think that this film is nearly perfect. I absolutely loved it, but I think that it requires a really specific sensibility that not everyone is going to have. Like, I think that it takes some literacy in Japanese culture or cinema and in order to be able to appreciate it.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense, actually, yeah. Well, gentlemen, I think we're going to let people off on a nice, what are we at, like an hour and 6-minute podcast? People are going to just zoom right through it while they're doing
and I
Pilates.
didn't gush about Guillermo del Toro on the jury.
Oh, that's right. Do you want to do that really briefly? Because I know we talked a little bit about it last night, which I thought was just adorable. Go ahead.
Unlike some of the flops on the jury this year, Guillermo del Toro really impressed me. I'm no fan of his as a filmmaker, but this year, 7 or 8 of the days that I was in Cannes, I went to 8:30 screenings, and those are the press screenings, and usually that's not when the whole jury attends, but every 8:30 screening that I was there, I saw him, sometimes sitting in the jury box alone, and yeah, he was so committed to it, and every time that I looked over at him, if there was a joke in a film, he was laughing heartily with his entire body. If there was something that was really emotional or really interesting or captivating, I saw him leaning forward on the edge of his seat, and he really seems to have this childlike love of the craft and that starry-eyed wonder that it seems like a lot of these people are missing. And I was just so taken by that. He was such a good sport, too. Like, after every screening, he would also stick around to sign autographs and shake people's hands and talk to his fans. And you get the sense that he wasn't doing it to stroke his own ego. He was doing it for them. And I think that's really great. But most of all, what sticks with me about him and why he was such an MVP of the jury is just the fact that no matter what film he was watching, he seemed to find something that he could relate to and just latched onto it and seemed to love it for what it was. And that was such a joy to watch as a cinephile because it really resonates with my own philosophy, which is to really try my hardest to love everything and find something redeeming, even if there's hardly anything. And yeah, that was just a real joy to watch, especially considering what the makeup of the jury was this year.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, when we were talking about it last night, it just sounded like he was just so passionate and happy to be there, and
Oh yeah,
That
for
was
sure.
very cool. That was very cool.
And yeah, really cool. So yeah, that was one of my favorite experiences at con, seeing him every day, and yeah, it gives me a little bit of hope. Thinking that, like, with the jury conference, when all these people are saying how strenuous it was for them to watch 2 movies a day, like, good God. It's nice to see.
That was really funny.
I missed that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So, Jason, what are your closing thoughts on the festival, being that it was your first?
I didn't realize how chaotic it was.
Yes, it is.
I was in big mosh pits
Welcome
for
to the
every
snake pits.
Yeah,
Grand Lumiere screening. I was stuck in like a mosh pit of people,
yeah.
getting crushed. But it was an exciting experience, and I'm glad I went. And it was cool to be a part of like seeing films during their first screenings.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think you're going to try and do that again?
I don't know. I think I might
Why
prefer
is that? Is it just a matter of opportunity, or is it just that it was so grueling for you that you once is enough?
Once is enough. Maybe I'll change my mind.
I can't wait.
It's
to
very
get back.
strenuous.
It's awesome.
It's awesome, but it's very strenuous.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than you think that it's going to be.
Oh, it's a lot of work, and it's
a lot.
To sleep every night.
Yes, one day I had like an hour and a half.
That's pretty much what I remember being used to, getting home like maybe
Waking
at
up
4
at
or 5
8:30.
and then getting up at 8 o'clock, and it's like, okay, it's time for the new day. You just do it. You just push through it.
The hard was trying to find time to write, like, because I would spend a lot of time in lineups and stuff like that, and I have a big laptop. I should really learn from Aurelius to get a tiny laptop that I can hide under a copy of Le Film Français or something like that.
Exactly.
So when they check your bags, you're allowed to bring it into the theater, because they don't allow laptops into the Lumiere.
No.
So,
Really?
No.
yeah, really.
I got it in there
you
one
are,
day.
but you're supposed to code check it.
Yeah.
Oh. No, I got it in the theater one day. They didn't care.
Oh, wow.
Guess I got past them.
I did some. I
new information.
I brought it. Yeah, I brought in my iPad. I think the first year, and when I was doing just like the non-gala screenings, and I just sat way up in the balcony. I would just write some little notes that wasn't bothering anybody with the light. So
The festival needs to improve on anything, though. It feels very disorderly. They need to step their game up, like TIFF with their 100 volunteers.
Oh, so you just think they need more volunteers for stuff like that?
Yeah, just to help it make more organized. It got so chaotic.
I can see
I
that.
think really, you think so?
I saw people jump all the way.
There are plenty of volunteers once you get inside one of the theaters. Outside the theaters, not so much.
I saw groups of people jump in line who weren't in line for hours with us, and no one cares.
Yeah,
it's every man for himself.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I can see that.
It's a battle.
It is.
Yeah, you have to know how to scalp a bitch in order to.
I felt like I was going to get trampled during Love, getting into that theater.
Sure,
I'm
but
so glad that I skipped that.
It was a fun experience, but not getting in. Waiting in line to get into the theater was thrilling and very scary, but the actual movie was kind of shitty.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything good about it.
And I could see that coming. I don't know why you had so much faith in it.
Right.
I knew he was trolling us, and Cedric and Aurelius pretty much confirmed that for me when I got back. And I'm like, I'm glad I trust my instincts. I'm glad I got a 5-hour sleep tonight instead of a 2-hour one. So.
Yes, I would agree.
What time did the screening even start?
Oh, it started like an hour late, I think, or 45 minutes late.
Like 1:15?
Yeah.
Good God. Yeah, I saw that coming too, and I was like, I'd really like to have a couple hours of sleep tonight. Girl, bye.
I mean, it was like a fun theater experience, but it's not a very good movie. But it had like clever direction, like techniques. But
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, like 3D cum shots?
yeah, right in your face.
Oh, that's so clever.
No,
And normally I would so be into that kind of thing, but I don't know
just
if I
tragic.
really want to see it.
It's just not the same anymore.
I'm a little worried about it, to be honest. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. All right. Well, good. Now you guys have had your closing thoughts, and that's awesome. Like I said earlier, if you want to read David's reviews, go to icusfilm.org and check them out. He's got many of them. I've just read the first paragraph of his Carol review because I'm trying to save myself, but go ahead and read it. It's really lovely stuff.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
It's a great review.
And do you guys both want to shout out your own Twitter so that you can have your own little bit of self-promotion? Jason, what about you? What's your Twitter?
Okay, it's at Michael, not Sarah.
Oh, right. And David, what about you?
I'm at 2_the_lightbox.
Wonderful. Awesome. And ICS Films is very basic. It's just at ICS Film, so there you go. And, of course, you're listening to AwardsWatch,
Film
Oscar
singular, not
podcast. And we are at awards_watch, and awardswatch.com is the website. So don't forget to come there to listen to this podcast, which you're already listening to now. So, hey, there you go. But yeah, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Jason, very much for joining me tonight on this.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
The pleasure is mine, darling.
We'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Mwah.